Hey everybody, welcome back to Santrel Media. In this video, we're diving into how to set up an online store with Squarespace. So if you're looking to sell physical products, digital products, drop shipping, whatever you're trying to do, Squarespace is the one that we recommend among the most out of the many different e-commerce options out there. But Squarespace is especially great because it's really easy to build. It's very professional, and so with just a couple clicks, you can really make it look like a very professional website that a lot of people won't be able to differentiate between yours and some really big brands out there. And in fact, a lot of big brands actually do use Squarespace, so it's very popular for many reasons. Some of the reasons we like it, not only does it look good, is it easy to build, but on top of that, you can also integrate it with social media. So if you want to sell directly on Instagram, for example, it's a great way to promote your products, and then people can just tap on it. You can tag your products, literally tag them in your post. It'll show the price. People can buy it right there in Instagram without even leaving the app. And there's just so many different options we have. We'll be diving into a lot of that in this video. This is a full tutorial for beginners. So if you have no store, if you don't even have a website, if you've never done anything with Squarespace, this should be a very helpful video for you. We'll be going through at a beginner's pace, but I'll drop timestamps down below if maybe you have a question about a particular space within this, within the website builder, for example. You can easily just go around and check out different things. But some of the things we'll be covering in this video, we'll be talking about how to set up your website, first of all, make it look good, and just go through the basics like that. I'll be talking about how to connect payments, how to set up your checkout, how to set up shipping. There's different types of shipping, so if you want to do flat rate or free shipping or shipping by weight or carrier calculated. We're also going to go into notification emails. So sending people emails when they buy something and let them know if it's shipping or what the status is, stuff like that. We're going to go through how to actually process orders, how to make returns, how to refund people, how to manage your orders, a lot of stuff on that front. We'll talk about analytics, how to set up discounts, and many more things of that sort. So clearly a lot to talk about in this video. One last thing before we get into it, I want to say, if in this video you find that I'm talking too slow or too fast, YouTube does have a great setting that allows you to change the playback speed. So if you want to do 1.5 speed, 0.75 speed, whatever it is, find the right speed for you, rewind as you need to, and let's get into this tutorial. So the first thing we want to do is go down in the top of the description of this video. I have a link right there. If you click on that link, it should bring you to this page right here. And so this page is going to be where we're starting for our Squarespace store. And it is going to look similar to basically the same page you'll be seeing for any Squarespace website, because really any Squarespace website can be set up as a store. Of course, you're going to have a slightly different paid plan though. We'll get into that in a minute, but we're going to go up to the top right and click Get Started. And so getting started, it shows us some templates right here, and you have some options. It doesn't necessarily matter which one you choose, and I'll show you that in a minute. You can choose pretty much any one of these later on, and you can change your template as you need to, but it is going to be easier to search if you go through this. So right now, let's say I'm starting a store. Maybe it's an online clothing store. I have clothing, my own merchandise, maybe for a YouTube channel, for example, and I want to make this store. So what do you want to do is I'm just going to say, let's see if they've maybe fashion. That's probably a close one. And we're going to say clothing store right there. So we can type in what it is. Actually, sorry, let's click fashion first and then describe our site. So clothing store, and let's click next. We could skip this if we wanted to, and I'll show you it's going to get to basically the same page anyway. But here it's going to say, what do you want to do? And so obviously being an online store, we are going to sell products. You could also sell memberships, and you could collect donations, for example, depending on what you're trying to do. I think most people watching this are probably looking to sell products, physical or digital, but we can go down and click next then, and it'll let us know about, right now that it wants to know what level we're at. And so I usually just say finalizing an idea or a personal project. It doesn't really make a huge difference if you choose these, but it is, some people might be coming in looking to transfer a website from Wix or transfer from whatever else they might be using, and so maybe you'd be replacing with a site or something like that. So let's go down and click Finish now, and it brings us into the template options here. This is where Squarespace really does well, in my opinion. So they have not a ton of templates, pretty good number, probably around 100 to 200 templates. So if you're looking through, they do have a lot of great options. And so on the left side, you'll see that you can browse by popular designs, portfolios, different categories. Online stores is a good place to look because the structure is already going to be there for what we're trying to do in this video. So let's go down and say, for this one, I mean, you have lots of options here. How about we say, maybe this one looks very plain. Maybe this one looks good. And we can go and preview it, click preview, it'll bring you into a full screen view of it, so you can kind of go through and click on the website and see how it would actually be if somebody visited. You can see what it's going to look like on a tablet, what it's going to look like on a phone, because obviously some people don't know this, but a lot of your traffic will be from phones, probably on the order of 50 or 60%, depending on where you market and what your product is. Just so many people use their phones all the time. So let's go and say this one, I think it looks pretty good. It's a pretty simple design. You can go through and say, I don't know, you can add your products in there very easily. So let's go and start with this design. Something else to note is a lot of people do like to have a blog associated or other type of content posted with their Squarespace, with their website, just to kind of improve their ranking. But you don't necessarily have to have that, and we'll talk about that later on. So let's go down and we can continue with email right now. Okay, so once you set up your account, it'll bring you automatically to the very next page right here. And it walks you through a couple things right here when you're setting it up. You could skip it if you want, but it does make it easier if you just do it right here. So we're gonna say Santrel clothing. All right, so once you get through that, you'll end up on this page right here. And quick little side note, you'll notice I changed the template. The one that I had previously actually didn't have a shop. I don't know why it was recommended as an online store. We can add a shop page very easily, but I wanted to show you guys, assuming you chose the right template, this one looks better anyway, so it's going to make things a lot easier if you choose a good template for your online store. Now what we're looking at here, I'll go through everything and show you exactly how to manage and like what this window actually is. But starting off on the right side, we have kind of a checklist right there. I'm going to walk through all this in the video anyway, so we don't need that. We can click the little X, but it's just going to make sure that you optimize everything and, you know, include a logo and stuff like that. So we're going to go down and click X. I'll cover all that in this video anyway. But see, this is what I was talking about, where you want to optimize it for a store. So right there, we have our cart icon on the top left. We have our socials right there. We have shop as the first thing on the top, and then maybe our story, blog, and contact. Those are very common for an e-commerce, like an online store. So this is overall a good layout. Now, if you choose a different template, if you just really like one of the other ones and you want to add a store, I'll show you how to do that later on in the video. But let's go through and look at what we're dealing with here. So on the right side, this entire block here is going to really be what our website will look like on a desktop. So you can go down and it's totally interactive. You can see what it's going to look like when somebody actually visits your website. It's something I like that Squarespace does. And we can go up to the top right and click on the phone icon to see a mobile preview. And then if you click on the phone icon again, it'll bring you back to desktop view. You can click on the arrow right next to that, and that will bring you into a full screen view if you want to see that. Then we have the edit button. I'll get into that in a minute. And on the left side, we have quite a few options there. So let's start off on the edit icon right here. So click edit, and this allows you to edit whatever page you want. So you can navigate to different pages, then click edit, and it'll bring you into a pretty basic editor that should be fairly straightforward when you're trying to change things. So the way Squarespace structures their websites is actually in a strip layout. So you'll have a definitive little strip. So you have at the top, you see the little plus icon there, and the next plus in between pluses is really your strip right there. So here we have a strip that has a picture and some text on there. You go down, the next strip is all gray right here. The next strip has a black background. So it's a really simple strip layout. And if you want to add another strip between them, you click on the little plus icon there, and it says, basically add a section. So strip, section, kind of the same thing. And they have quite a few different options here. You can customize these and move things around, but I always recommend to people, there are so many different section options right here that you typically should just be finding one and kind of just adding the content to that. It saves a lot of trouble, makes things a lot easier, and it's one of the reasons I really like Squarespace is because you have all of these options. So if you go down and you say, you know what, I just really want to have maybe a form, and I want to collect maybe emails or something like that. So you can go down here and you can say get in touch. You can have one that's like a subscribe to our newsletter. You can have something that says, request more information. You can change it however you want and just look at maybe one has a picture in the background, one has a picture next to it. And it's just a better way, in my opinion, of creating new sections. Now, if you want, you could always just create a blank section right here. So if we do that, you will be able to customize this as much as you need to. So just this section right here, let's say we want to edit it. Maybe we want a headline there, maybe a picture, and maybe a small paragraph below that. So if you move your mouse around, you'll see somewhere over here, you should have these little bubbles pop up. And that's because currently we have a text box in the middle, so we can add some text in the middle. And let's just say this is our store. And of course, with this text, it's a simple text editor. You can put it in the middle. You can change the font size. You can make it bold. So let's make this bold. And we want, instead of paragraph, let's just have heading 1. And then let's just say maybe below that we want to add, so if you go over to the left, you'll see very, very faint little gray bars right there. The gray background makes it hard to see this. So if you go over here, you can say right below, click on that little bubble icon, and it'll bring up options. So if you want to put something below it, let's just say below this we want maybe some more text, but it's going to be more like a paragraph. So let's just say, let's go here and add text. So you can add a text thing right there. And again, this will be, so this is our store and we sell clothing. And you're gonna like write a little paragraph there, whatever you want, and then let's just copy that so we can fill that out a little bit. All right, so it's not really, I don't know why there's an S after the period, but anyway, that's what it's going to look like. Now, if you want this to be narrower, you do have some options right there. And so now that we have our text right there, first of all, I don't like that this is a gray background. It matches the one above it too well. So let's go and change the background of this stripe. So we'll go and click on the little edit icon on the top, the pencil right there, and you can edit a lot about this. So you can say that we want the background, instead of just gray, you can make it an image, you can make it a video, you could change right here the colors, so you can use a default theme. Let's go and say we want the image to be something that we'll search. So we'll just find an image. Maybe this is a good image right here. So we want this to be our background. We're going to use this as the background for this little block right here, and it is going to set up that image right now. So there we go, we have that, and so this could be a block right here in itself. Now, you do have many other options though. You're not confined to just doing this. So if we want to add something above the text, click on the little bubble and you have tons of options. You can add text right there. Markdown for beginners, you're not going to be doing this. This is a little bit more on like coding type side. You have quote right there, you have an image, you have video, spacer, and spacers are something that if you want to have space between things, because it's not drag and drop, you will have to add a spacer and you can change the size of that spacer as needed. You can add a line, maybe as a divider, for example. You can add a button, you can add audio, you can embed different things, maybe if you want to put a file in there. And you can have a lot of different layouts for your images as you see right here. So a poster, you can have a card with some text next to it, some overlap, just lots and lots of options. I recommend just scrolling through this and trying these out as you're building your website to see, different things are going to look better for different applications. But let's just say we want to add a button, but maybe we want the button like below this text right here. So let's click down there and go and add our button. And the button is pretty straightforward. So it tells you right there, you can add a title to the button. So we can say learn more. We can go and add the URL of where we want the button to go. So maybe we want it to point to our store, like our shop page or something, and you have lots of options. So if you click on the little gear icon next to that, you don't have to have the URL right away. You can have it go to a separate page in your website. Very easy to do. So if we want it to go to home, or let's just say we want it to go to shop. So right now we don't have a page called shop, so we're gonna have to set that up. But basically you get the idea. You can have it go to an email, you can have it go to your phone, so you could say call us. People would tap and call you very easily. So we're going to cancel and leave the button just like it is now. But you can change the size of it, you can change the alignment of it if you want it in the center, left justified. Very easy to edit all this stuff. And while we're talking about buttons, another really important thing to note is actually your text. You can add links in your text. So if you go up here and say store, we want that to link to something, you just highlight store, and then you will up here actually be able to add the little chain icon, the link, and you'll be able to add a link to that so that, again, you can link it to a specific page within your website. So those are called internal links. You also have external linking, which means if you want to reference somebody else's research, you can point them to another website. That's how you get backlinks with each other as well, and it does help ranking for both parties in Google. Okay, so something else to note that a lot of people get confused with is they think you can only do things vertically. So you see right here, the little bubble icons mean that you can insert things above or below different items, but you can actually insert things left and right very easily, and that's how you can really optimize it. So if I say, right now I really don't like how wide this is, it looks weird that the text is so strung out like that. So I can go and let's just say right below it, I want to add a spacer. So you add a spacer, and then this spacer, you can click and drag it to wherever you want. So if we want it on the left side of this text, on the right side of the text, whatever you want to do, let's add it over on the left side right here, and you can add it to the left side of the entire thing or just the left side of the text. So we'll add it on the left side right there, and it pushes things over to the right. Now, maybe you'd want it to be centered, so you can go and edit this, or you can actually go and add another spacer. So let's add another spacer to the right side, and it'll make it in even thirds. So we'll go add the spacer to the right side, and it will make it, or it should make it in even thirds, except right now it's not doing that. So you have options. You can change the size of your spacer, the height of your spacer, the width of your spacer. As you see right there, you can click and drag it, and eventually you will have a nice centered text right there. So clicking and dragging is how you will be doing that. I know it might look weird what I'm doing. It's kind of hard to see these light blue lines here, but I promise once you start dragging and trying this out on your own, it is actually very easy to do, and your website will quickly look significantly better as you start to optimize that. But see, adding those spacers and stuff like that is why I was saying before that the easiest way to do this is definitely just to use the pre-made templates for the sections that Squarespace already has. They already look good, and something like this, I guarantee Squarespace already has a section that looks like this, and you don't have to waste your time adding spacers and making it from scratch. If you just choose any other section, so like this one right here, we can just as easily edit it just as we did the blank one. So we can change the background of this one. We can change the size of spacers if you want. You can change the text. You can add links. You can link out different things. So like this product right here is linked in, and you have lots and lots of options when you're editing your site. And so this is the basic editing of how you'll be constructing a single page, each individual page within your site. So it's really pretty straightforward. I like doing this. But something else is, let's just say we really don't like a section or even don't like parts of a section. So this one right here, maybe I just don't like this right here. I don't like the look of this page. It looks weird. We can go and either delete individual elements, or we can go and delete the entire section by clicking the little trash can icon on the top right of the section. So you can do that. It'll remove it. And just like that, you can easily have your entire thing looking however you want. If you want this section to be above or below different ones, the little arrows over there will be how you can move it up and down. So clicking on the up arrow right there brings it up above a section. Click on it again, it keeps bringing it up. And eventually it's at the very top, which is why the header changed colors to match the top picture right there. So if we bring it down, you'll see the header becomes black. So if you're wondering how to change the color or the look of your header, at least with this template, it's going to be matching the first block you have right there. So that's basically how you'll be editing that stuff. We can go up to the top and say, you know what, we want to actually edit more about the header. So we can go and just click on Edit Header, and it gives you the basic structure. You can change the header layout if you don't like that structure. Personally, I think that one's probably one of the better structures out there, where you have your shop, you have story, blog, contact in the middle, and then on the left you have your logo, which you want to make sure is always linking back to the home page, or maybe you could link it back to the store, whatever page you want, but you want to make sure it is linking somewhere. And on the right side, I like having socials and cart. That makes sense. Everyone's used to seeing that over there, so it is an easier way for people to recognize and easily navigate your website. But other than that, you can go down and edit your site title and logo. So if you want it to be just text, that's an easy way to do it. It's just going to use the font that's default for this theme. I'll show you that, changing that in a minute. But you can also add your actual logo. If you want your logo to be an image, you can upload your image right here. And by default, it should be linking back. Squarespace is really good about doing that automatically. You can add some other elements in here, so you can change the size of the icons. You can edit the links for social. So if you don't want all of these or you want some more, you can easily edit them, and definitely make sure you go through here and make sure that these are not linking to, right now by default, it's going to the socials for Squarespace. That's pretty embarrassing if somebody goes to your website and clicks on your Instagram icon and ends up on the Squarespace Instagram. It's not really what you want to do. So make sure you go and edit that before you make your site live. Now you can turn your cart on or off. So I recommend leaving it on. It's easiest for people to get used to this and navigate it very easily. But you can change the icon size as you see on the bottom. And that's how we'll be really editing the header right here. Like I said, I think it looks pretty good so far. But now let's just go through, and if we want to say, we're going to say done right here, save our changes, and let's just go and say we want to edit a different page. So now we can go and check out our shop. So if we click on shop right there, you'll see that again, really similar structure right here. We can go through and edit this. So if we click on edit, we'll be able to go and add different sections on here, and we can add different things like a carousel if you want to see your products shown up in a different way, or it can just show up in the default way right here. As you scroll down, you see all the different products. So I think it's actually pretty good. And something cool about this is right here you can manage the items. So this is a special block that is going to allow you to just have all the items that you have in your store, just listed all of them. If you manage items, it'll bring us into a different location where we're going to be over here. You can upgrade and you can manage what items you have in there. We'll touch on that in just 1 minute. But you get the idea. This is exactly how you will be going through and editing the overall structure of your website. So again, you can edit titles, stuff like that, add pictures, add text, change the font, whatever you want to do. And that's what's going to be done on the right side of the screen. Now, there's still a lot to cover in this video. So as we see on the left side, all these little things. This is where the real power happens with Squarespace. So starting off on the first one, you can rearrange your pages. So as we see on the top, you have shop, our story, blog, and contact. Maybe you don't really care about our story. You can click on the trash icon on the left to get rid of that page, or you can actually go and change the title of the page, make it something else if you would like. So let's right now click on the little edit icon right there, and you can change what it's going to be. So is it an About Us page? So it's going to say Our Story and Navigation, but the title of the page is About Us. Maybe you want it to be something else. So maybe say Our Mission. Maybe it could be Our Mission, and then Our Mission. So maybe you're like Four Oceans kind of thing or something like that. And then the URL slug is going to be what's at the end. So you are going to be santrelmedia.com/this. And you want to make sure every page has something very definitive and very simple like this. So Our Story is probably a good one, but obviously this is Our Mission. So that way when people are navigating, you can say go to santrelmedia.com/our mission. Maybe have a dash in there or don't have a dash. It's up to you. And we can enable the page, or we can disable the page if you're working on it, you don't want it to be shown right away. You can easily do that. You can make it a password page so that not users only with the admin password can get to this. You can duplicate the page. You can set it as your home page. You can go down and do some SEO stuff right here, which is very, very, very important. I can't emphasize this enough. If you're trying to rank on Google, you want to make sure that you do optimize for your search engine. So search engine optimization means that Google goes around and they look at so many different websites. You want this to be easy for them to look at it and say, oh, I know what this is. They're selling clothing. And you want it to be easy for Google to identify what your site is so that they can recommend it in search, and you will get more traffic and more customers. So here you can go down and add the title. So right here, by default, it's going to say Our Mission Santrel Clothing. You can change the title of that if you want. You can change the description. So right here, there will be an automatic description, probably based on whatever text you have first on that page. But I usually recommend adding a description there. And usually I don't hide from search results. Maybe you could for, I don't know, maybe like a specific page that's not really important for your website. Then we can go down in social image right here. And we're not going to touch on this right now, but this is going to be if somebody shares this page on Facebook, for example, what picture is going to be shown above that in a preview. And then, of course, there is some advanced stuff that we're not going to touch on in this video. So we're already covering a lot right here, but let's just say maybe we don't like the order of these. So we want contact to be the next thing. You can just click and drag it up and it'll rearrange it in your navigation bar on the top. So it's shop, contact, Our Mission, and then blog. Maybe that's what you want. So that's very easy to do that. And of course you could add more navigation. So you can add another page on there and you can go down and add a portfolio, tons of different options. You can add a link up on the top. So if you have on your navigation, like join our email list, and it could link out to maybe your MailChimp or something like that. So tons of options with navigation up there. And that is really, if you have something that's not on navigation, that would be down here. So like your home page, it's not going to show home right there because your logo already links to home. But you can have other pages like maybe a terms and conditions page, a cookies tracking page, maybe a refund policy page, things that you don't necessarily want on the top, but you still want those pages to exist. Maybe you link to them in your footer, for example. That's just a great way to add them down here as non-linked pages in your navigation. So continuing down, let's go back to home. That was pages. When we go to design, this is how you can really tailor the template that you chose to your needs. So you can go and change the fonts right here. You can change the color scheme. You can change the animations when you're going between different pages and clicking on things. And you have a couple options with animations. I don't usually touch on this and change it too much. Some people are very picky and they want it to fade between pages or scale between pages. I just leave it as none. It's easiest. Nobody ever complains about it or says it would look better with animations. And when I'm visiting websites, I never notice animations anyway. We can go down and check out the spacing right there. So site spacing is not something I'm really going to dig into too much right now. Buttons, you have product items. So let's go down to product items right now. Being that this is an online store, you have just some basic stuff right there. I'm actually not going to dive into this. This is going to be when you're showing your gallery how big the items are and what the text is going to look like. Again, this is a little bit more advanced. But as we go down, you have your browser icon. So this is going to be on the top. So you see right here, we have this little gray cube for Squarespace. When we visit our website, it's going to be, I mean, depending on the browser, it's probably just going to be like a gray picture of the earth, probably, is what I usually see. So I do recommend going and adding your logo right here so that when people go to your website, it looks really professional and it shows up on the top right next to your name right there, whatever the page is as well. definitely add that. It'll make a big difference on your website, so you look way more professional. And the big thing about an online store is you really want to make sure that you're looking as professional as possible, because if you don't look professional, people are not going to buy from you. The whole thing is they're looking and saying, all right, this is not Amazon, this is not Walmart, I don't know this brand. Are they reputable? Are they professional? And can I trust them to ship my product? Or am I going to have to go through the big hassle of talking to my credit card company and disputing it? Like, you want to make sure that everybody knows you're reputable and you're real. And so that's why you're making sure that you do all the things like that. Then as we go down, you have lock screen. Checkout page is a very important one. So they didn't show this back in the other pages because it's not really a page that you typically link to, but you can edit your checkout page, of course, as you see right here. And so, sorry, it's still loading right now. There's, again, basic editing right here. It's not going to be quite the same editor, but you can do some basic things with colors, and it does look pretty good. I like the checkout page that Squarespace uses by default, so I'm going to keep everything just like that. The 404 page, again, make sure you're editing this one as well, because this is important. If anybody ever types in, hopefully you're not sharing broken links, but if anyone ever types in like accidentally the wrong link, so santrelmedia.com/ and they just maybe add an extra letter, they mistype something, it's going to bring them to a 404 page not found error. So you want to make sure that this looks good and says, hey, sorry, looks like you typed in the wrong page. Like, this right here looks bad. I would recommend going and actually editing this so you can change what it actually says. And maybe instead you could just direct them to maybe the home page, you know? So if anyone types in the wrong link, it'll just bring them back to the home page or bring them back to another page that you make so that it's a little more friendly and a little bit less weird than this bunch of small text right there saying the URL is not valid. So just some options there. Consider doing that. It's something that I usually recommend people check out. And then there's custom CSS. We're not going to get into that. That's a little bit more coding stuff. If you have a web developer further on down the road and you want to change some very specific things, that's really where they would be doing that. All right, so we're making a lot of progress here. We basically have our website set up at this point, but now it's time for the bread and butter of the online store. And this is going to be the actual commerce, what we're selling, how we're managing orders, what we're doing behind this. And so when we click on commerce, we have quite a few options here. I'm going to go through these one at a time and show you how to do different things. But first, if you are going to use commerce or really anything on Squarespace, they only give you a 14-day trial to actually build your website. And if you want to do anything with e-commerce, obviously you have to upgrade. So click on subscribe on the bottom right there, and it brings you several different options. So the first thing that you want to know is if you are selling things, don't waste your time by paying for personal or business. You will not have the options for e-commerce unless you go to commerce right here. So commerce basic, $26 per month. It may seem steep, but when you're actually digging through what you get, I find that it's actually pretty fair considering what a lot of other Shopify and BigCommerce, a lot of other ones charge even more money sometimes or give you different features. So if you dig through this, $26, and this is actually, side note, something that they don't make it super obvious. I mean, they tell you on the side there, this is if you're paying annually. So you can pay annually and you get $26 per month. If you pay monthly, it is a little bit more, so $30 a month. So I would usually recommend just getting an annual plan at a time. You're gonna save money. And typically online stores take some time to kind of get going anyway. So if you're paying month to month, you're more likely to give up on it. Now, I don't wanna pressure anybody to spend more money. Make this decision on your own. But it's just what I would generally recommend. Save the money and do the year. And then if your store doesn't work out after a year, then you can let it go. But it's just a pretty good insurance plan that I like to do when I start stores. So as you go down, you'll see that the little check boxes. I really like the layout here that they make it very clear what you get and what you don't get. So you will get a professional email from Google. That's great. You will go down and get premium integrations and blocks. You can go down and see the e-commerce stuff, fully integrated e-commerce, 0% transaction fees. You can sell unlimited products. You can accept donations, and you have all these things down here. So this is where I said don't waste your time with business or personal, because going to basic e-commerce here gives you a lot of extra stuff right here. So you can go down and you have e-commerce analytics, you have merchandising tools, you have products on Instagram, which is a big one that I highly recommend, being that so many people are on Instagram. If you can grow your influence on Instagram or otherwise just have your posts there that maybe you're doing paid promotions, running ads, it doesn't matter. Getting people onto your Instagram page and then tagging your products, for a lot of people, can make quite a few more sales. So these are the things that you get right there. That's usually why I recommend that one. But again, make your own decisions, read through this, and then actually select the plan you want. Now, for the purposes of this video, I am just going to select e-commerce basic, and I'm going to go month to month because, I mean, I guess I'm spending $30 to make this video. I'm not actually making a store right now, so that, I mean, we'll get back in 1 second. All right, so we made our purchase right now, and we can go down and go back to our site right there, or we can just click the little X. It'll bring us back to essentially where we were, I believe. And we can get back into the e-commerce things now that we actually have the tools enabled. So it's gonna, no, we're gonna skip. It wants to know where our source was. I don't really care about that. All right, now getting back to commerce, the first thing I recommend doing is going to your shop page right here, click on edit, and let's go down and actually click on manage the items. So you're gonna manage what items you have in your store. This is obviously the first step we wanna do right there, and this is our shop page right here. And so we can go down and we can change items, you can move them. So you can say we want this one maybe over there, we want this item up there, and this is how you move them around within your gallery. So if there's certain items that sell more, have a better click-through ratio, or otherwise just perform better and you want them on the top, you can easily do that. You can also click on each individual one and we can move it to the top, move it to the bottom, just like that. Or another option is actually just to click on them and click the delete button on your keyboard, say confirm, and that'll get rid of them. So if you want to say, you know what, I'm actually not selling these plants, let's go and get rid of these. Let's delete and confirm, keep doing this, delete and confirm. And then if we want to add another product, we click on the little plus icon right there. So let's click on plus, and it'll pop up and say, what type of product do you want to sell? So you have physical products, digital products, like I said. Those are two of the probably the big ones most people will be selling. But you could have a service right there. So if you're looking to say, you know, buy a service where I will, I don't know, call your friend and do a voiceover of Donald Trump or something. You know what I mean? Like things like that, they're typically seen on Fiverr, but maybe you just want to sell it on your website here as a service. Somebody could buy it. And it just kind of, the difference here is that will not have shipping on there and you won't worry about addresses and stuff like that. Then you can also have gift card down there if you're selling a gift card to somebody so that they can give that code to somebody. They can use it later when they're trying to purchase something on your website. So let's just say we want a physical product, being that this is a clothing store. Click on physical product and it'll bring you into this page right here, which does actually make things, in my opinion, very easy to do. So you can add an image right there. You can add multiple images. I generally recommend more images is usually better. Usually probably about 4 to 5 images would be ideal, but make sure that these are good photos. The better your photo is, the better your product will sell. So if you have a professional camera, a DSLR, a mirrorless camera, that would be great. But even if you just have a phone camera, definitely make sure that your products are, they're nice and clean. They're set in a very good environment that would look good. Maybe you edit it a little bit on Photoshop. Make sure your photos have good color in them, and have your photos ready to go for this. So don't just whip out your phone and start taking pictures where it's like sitting on a bunch of newspapers on your kitchen table. Like you want to make sure that the photos look good. Again, like I said before, to make your store reputable so people can go here and feel confident in their purchase that what they're buying is what they actually want. So then you can add a product name, you can add the price or the variations right there. So if we click on that, you'll see that you can change the SKU. So they're going to give you whatever the initial SKU is, just something random. So if you want to name it, you could do that. And you can have a price for that. You can have dimensions. And so let's say we want to add a second one right here. And so we'll click on plus and we'll say optional name. So the option name is going to be color. So maybe the variation is going to be color. So we'll go down here and we'll add some different colors. So this one can be blue. Maybe we're selling like sweatshirts, for example. Black, a black one. And then maybe we want to add like a yellow one as well. So yellow. And you can change the price of each of these. So the first one, maybe the price is going to be $25, and maybe we want it on sale for $22. And it is on sale right now. So we're trying to sell these out. Maybe the other ones are not on sale, so 25. And maybe 25 for this one as well. For some reason, a lot of people do like to list the price and then say it's on sale, make people think that they're getting a better deal than they are by inflating the original price and then putting it on sale. You could do that if you want. I don't. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. It just depends. But you can actually have sales that are either seasonal sales or sales for specific codes. I'll show you that in a minute. The next thing is to actually, well, you can add images for each individual one. Obviously do that for your different colors if you can. Additional info then will just be, you can write stuff about the product. So this is definitely important. And you can add different things right here. So This is like if you go on eBay and you look at the bottom where it shows like the products and like what people say about the product. Sometimes they have pictures in there, sometimes they don't. The ones that have pictures generally I think are better, where it shows you a little bit more about the product and it makes it seem more like a legitimate thing. So you can add some FAQs here. You can add some, talk about the dimensions, just kind of sell your product in the additional info that's going to be shown up in your actual sale page. So then we can go to form right here. So you could have a form if you want or not. So this would be maybe if you want to have like a custom thing, you can add a field. Somebody could type in like their name and you can engrave it on something. I'm not going to do that for this product. We can go over to options and you can have the specific product URL. So this is also important for SEO purposes, or also just so you can tell people, hey, go to santrelmedia.com/shop/shirts, and they can easily find the product they're looking for. And so that's something you do right there. You can add a thumbnail for that page at least. The SEO of it, also go through here. This is the same thing I showed you before. And the social, likewise, does something like this. And I'll show you how to actually integrate this with Instagram in just 1 minute. But we can also go down there, and once we're done, we can connect it to social to actually share it. So once we have our product, we can go down here and we can either delete it if we don't like that. If we're opening a product we don't want, we can save it, or we can save and publish. So we are going to save and publish right now. And so now we have our product right there. No picture with this because I'm just making this just to show you guys. But we do also have a gift card right there. Let's go ahead and delete some of these other things. So let's say delete, we don't want that one. We don't want a fern maybe, delete that. So confirm. And so that's basically what you'll be doing for the shop, setting up what your items are. Now let's go back to commerce again and start going through more of that. So click back a couple times. We get to commerce right here. So the next thing is to actually go and check out your inventory. So inventory, you'll be able to see all your different products right there. So the unnamed product, I probably should have given that a name and called it sweatshirt. But you can easily go into that and you can change the inventory of different things. So if you click on each individual one, it'll pop up. This is what we already had right here with stock. And so if you click on that, so same page I showed you before, we can say the stock is like 10. And it's nice that Squarespace will track it as people buy it and they'll let you know how many you have left. So if you have a lot of different things and you're selling maybe 30 items or 5 items, it doesn't matter. If you have a lot, it is nice that you can do this. And if it's a digital product or something that is maybe not something you have limited, maybe drop shipping, for example, unlimited would be a good way to do that as well. So let's go and say save again right there. So that is how you could get into that in a second way to get into that same window. And it shows you the inventory right here, so you can import or export this if you're trying to use different inventory management tools. Easy to do that right here. And again, you can also add a product from this page from your inventory page as well. So just one of the many ways you can get into that. Going down, you can see your customers. So if people placed orders, you can see orders right there and customers right there. If you need to contact a customer, it's a great way to do that. We can go down to discounts then, and within discounts, you have active discounts, scheduled discounts, or inactive discounts. And so let's just go and add one right now. And there's a lot of different options for a discount. And we can just say, let's just say birthday sale. Let's just say birthday sale. And it's going to be a discount code, for example. And something really cool is if you integrate this with MailChimp, I actually made another tutorial on MailChimp and showed you how to do this. You can have people, when they sign up for your email list, type in their birthday, and then maybe on their birthday, you can send them a discount code that they could use to get maybe a free something on your website or a discount on your website, maybe as like a birthday present for them, or just to get them on your website a little bit more and to buy more from your store. So you can name the code, you can generate the code, whatever you want, something random like that works just fine. You can have it as a discount for a percent, an amount, or you could just say the discount is you get free shipping, which is something that a lot of people do like to get. It could apply to any order, an order over a certain amount. Again, really nice tools that Squarespace has here. And all shipping options are there as well. You can limit the number of uses. You have to upgrade for some of these tools right there as they show you. You can have a limit 1 per customer. You can have limits like that. You can have a start and end date. Let's just say this one never expires. And that is going to be what we do with this one. So let's just go down and say the discount code, and we're going to, how about instead, let's just make it a % off, and let's just make this, can we do 100%? Is that gonna let us do this? I think it might let us do that. Let's see. No, it doesn't like that. So we will have to say 99% off is what I'm going to say. 99% off. So let's go and save that as a nice discount for your birthday. And I'm going to copy this so I can actually use this later as an example customer. So let's go back and we can go down and you'll see right there we have our first sale right there. And we can schedule it, have it active, inactive, and we can see it, and manage your sales very easily. Okay, so the next thing is actually to set up our shipping and our payments. So let's go down here and click on payments, and you have some options. You can set up your online store with Stripe, with PayPal, with Square. And so obviously it says Square right there is for US only. And so it's very easy to set these up. I'll just set it up with PayPal right now. It'll bring you up to a page where you can sign in with PayPal, and you can accept payments by PayPal then. You can have Venmo as well, something really cool. A lot of people have Venmo. If you connect with Stripe, you can use Visa, MasterCard, Amex, Apple Pay, Discover. You have a lot of options there. And so connecting with Stripe, very easy to do. They walk you through this as well. So you want to make sure, you can connect with multiple things, PayPal and with Stripe. And so it's going to walk you through this and have you create a Stripe account right there for your business. I'm not going to do that in this video, but it's something that you could do right here and you actually should be doing once you set up your site. Now, if we go back, that's how you're going to be setting that up, and you can change your store currency there as well. You can go down to checkout and have basic things like this. You can have abandoned cart recovery, so you can send people emails. You're going to have to upgrade to a more expensive version for that. But it's something that is very powerful that Squarespace does. So if somebody has an account with you, they go there, they don't purchase for some reason, they leave. Maybe, you never know what happens. Maybe their cat got stuck in the wall or something, right? Like, I don't know, stuff happens. And you're like, oh no, and you have to go and like save your cat really quick. And then you forgot that you were going to order a sweatshirt from us. So maybe we would be sending you an email a little bit later, I don't know, a day later, an hour later, a week later, and say, hey, I think this was in your cart, but you forgot to purchase it. Did you mean to purchase it? And people might come back, and you're going to recover some more people from that that will otherwise maybe forget and never make a purchase. So it's just a nice feature to have there. Check out on your domain. We can go down and have mailing lists right there. So there's a lot of stuff right here that I'm not going to get into, but Express Checkout is something really cool. It doesn't have the add to cart and then you go to the cart and do that. Instead, it's like Amazon has like the one click. So you just say buy now and it just purchases it. Very easy to do. So if you have a website or an online store that really only sells one product, that's when I would really recommend using this. So you can just have an Express Checkout. Someone says, yep, buy it. And it's just really easy to do it all in one place, to not have things over in the cart. You can also change things. So like the shipping and the billing address right there by default are the same. You can have the color scheme looks a little different. Just a lot of things in here I recommend digging through to kind of optimize and just read about them, and they're definitely interesting. And you can have your next order number there change, I don't know, based on like 0001, right? That's an easy way to do things if you're trying to track orders like that. But that was basically what you're going to be doing down here with checkout, with payments. Customer accounts, you can have customers making accounts with you. I usually enable this. I think it's a nice thing to have so people can come back. I didn't mean to double click that. People can come back and check out their cart again if they saved things. They can also go back and see, I don't know, maybe their orders. They can come back to your website. I just think it's a cool way people can do that. It's also a great way to have customers input their email on there so they have an account with you, so you can send them reminders and emails and stuff like that. Then we want to set up shipping and taxes. These are very important, obviously, if you're going to be legal and actually deliver things to your customer. So you can add shipping options. Like I said, there's 4 options for shipping. You can have free shipping, you can have shipping by weight, you can have shipping calculated by the carrier, or you can have shipping that is just like a flat rate, basically. So if we go and add shipping options, like I said right there, you do have options. So you can have it calculated by FedEx or something like that. That's not something that we're going to be doing with this plan. You could upgrade for that, but generally you can just do depending on weight. It should be pretty easy to do. And so you can just say your weight is going to, whatever the option is. You can have shipping zones right here, and it's going to be fairly easy for you to make this and set it up so people can do this. Now, if you want to make things even easier for you, just make everything free shipping and just kind of build that into the cost. Depending on where you're marketing and who your target market is, if you're selling things internationally, that's going to be a lot trickier for free shipping. It's going to cost you a lot more, especially if you're selling larger items as well. But if you're pretty much only domestic and everything, like let's say you're selling stickers or something, you could just say free shipping and put it in a small envelope. It's going to cost you 50 cents, and you can just build that into the price very easily. And I think people actually do like free shipping a lot, so they're more inclined to buy, at least from what I've noticed. So at this point, what I recommend you do is go down to the bottom and click on the blue button there that says publish your site. From there, it will walk you through some steps to add a domain. You can buy one from Squarespace. They're generally pretty cheap, $12 to $20 per year. And once you have your site published, go open a new tab, go to your site and place an order. And there's two different ways you could do this. You could place a test order, or normally what I would actually just do is place a regular order as if you were a customer, and then make sure that you get the right email and everything, and make sure you're checking all that to see how everything works. But you can come back to orders here on the commerce page, and you can actually go and refund yourself if you want to do that, or you could just pay yourself. It doesn't really matter which you choose to do there. Now, as we get down to taxes, this is going to be, you can include this right here. So you can either have it included in the prices, or you can have, based on different countries, you can have how much tax is being charged. So at the end, when the checkout page, it'll add 6% if you're in Pennsylvania or whatever. It's something standard. You want to make sure you set this up though, just so that that's going to be working, and you're not going to be losing money by people not paying tax, and then you have to pay the sales tax on that in the end anyway. So those are the things on the bottom. Accounting is not really that exciting. I'm not really going to do that. You can download your reports if you want to use other software, which is a great way to, I don't know, bring it into like Excel or something, and just check out the reports of the things you sold. Now the stuff in the middle, I didn't touch on that yet because notifications is interesting. There's two sides of it. There's notifications for you for low stock alerts. So you can say, hey, if my items get below 5, that's dangerously low, let me know so I can order more from wherever your supplier is, or maybe build more, maybe whatever it is. Or else maybe if you're running out of a product, you can actually just take it off your website, or otherwise it'll just say out of stock. Then we can actually go back, and the other one is the customer notifications. And these are going to be things like emails that are sent out to your customers. So you can have things like an order email. So you can say when they order, you could follow up and say, thank you for your order. This is your order number. This is your receipt for it. This is how much you paid. And this is when we expect it to arrive, stuff like that. So it's definitely important that you do that so people know that they did place the order. Otherwise they get concerned. They don't know when it's coming. They don't know if it worked, or they just lost some money. So definitely make sure you have that. Again, abandoned cart recovery, you can set up an email here. You can have a waitlist email and say, hey, we're out of stock, but it's coming soon. You can do a lot of stuff like this. So go through, check this out. I would recommend building these out, and you can also have the email right here for where it's going. So the from email, the to email. Obviously, it should be something like your own. So mike@santrelmedia.com would be a good one there if you're trying to do it from your own business, at least. That's what I would generally recommend doing. Now, you also have donations confirmation. If someone's donating, like GoFundMe does this, for example, they'll say, hey, thanks for your donation. They tell you what your amount was, and you just know that it worked. And it's just something that's very important. So continuing on with commerce, though, we're not done. The middle here, these selling tools are something that is not super important for beginners, but definitely still can be important. So waitlists and related products, stuff like that, could be useful. So you could show related products. If someone's looking at one, you could say this one's related, and maybe they'd be interested in shifting over to another product. And you'd say, hey, you might also like these other products. So something that could be interesting if you're trying to make more sales. If you sell things that are related, and it's like someone's buying a phone, you could also have chargers or earbuds, stuff like that. Could be very useful to have on there. Just a couple of things. Go through those on your own. I'm not going to dig into that in this video. As we get down to marketing, this is actually very, very, very important. And if you're going to make an online store, you don't want to miss out on this section here, because this is really what's going to bring you to the next level and make your business successful on Squarespace, or really on the internet in general. So you want to make sure that, maybe email campaigns are good. Maybe you want to send out a sale and say, hey guys, for this week, we're cutting 10% off of these items. And you want to send a discount code that I showed you before in an email campaign. So if we click on that, you can integrate lots of different things. Email campaigns like they have right here, you can make them through Squarespace, or instead, what I would generally recommend for a lot of people, especially in the beginning, is to go and check out MailChimp. Again, I have a tutorial. I'll link it down below if you guys want to see that. We have discovery, so SEO is going to be obviously very, very important. They have a checklist right here that shows you all the different things you should be doing with Squarespace to make sure that you're found on Google. And of course, each individual page, as I showed you before, you can go and change the title, the meta description right there, so little meta descriptions below, and the URLs to make sure it's clean and it's working. You're not going to have the most advanced stuff. You could hire an SEO expert right here. That's kind of nice if you're trying to really optimize it for load speed and compress your images. There's a lot of stuff. It's an entire world of SEO. It's a real science there. But for the purposes of just ranking a little higher on Google, generally choosing a good name, good keywords, and going through these best practices should definitely help you a lot to at least be found on Google. We can have promotional pop-ups. That's something that is really powerful, really cool. So you could say, hey, there is a spring sale, you're getting 25% off our sweatshirts or something. And so you can have a pop-up in the beginning, give them a code, they can copy it. They might be more inclined to go and buy a sweatshirt now and use that code. So promotional pop-ups are nice, or announcement bars that go across the top and do really, or the bottom really, and do really the same thing right there. You can have products on Instagram right here. I told you I was going to talk about this a few minutes ago. So right here, you can actually integrate them with Instagram, something very, very powerful. And so it's going to be on your Instagram page. You can connect this. And the easiest way to do this, from what I found, is actually just to go to Facebook Business Manager. I made a tutorial on setting up Facebook Business Manager. If you don't have one, don't worry, it's very easy. And you go to Facebook Business Manager, connect your Instagram account, and then from up here, all you want to do is go down to Partner Integrations. It brings you to this page right here. And sorry, it's going to reload because I clicked on that. But then you can go down and find Squarespace, and you can integrate your Squarespace website with your Facebook Business Manager. And then eventually, once Instagram approves you, you can easily just tag your items in your posts, and people can buy things directly. So you're going to have this right here. So you can copy this little link right here. And it's just a really easy way to do that. It's something that I think is very powerful. I mentioned it many times in this video, really for that reason, because it's something pretty great. You also have other things, so Facebook Pixel and ads. If you're running Facebook ads, which I pretty much recommend a lot of businesses should at least try that. It's a great way to gain more sales, and if you do it correctly, you can make a lot of money and grow your business very quickly. So Facebook Pixel and ads, it's an easy way to set it up right here, so copying and pasting or putting your Pixel ID right there. It's very easy to integrate that, and essentially what it is Facebook would be tracking this. So you can say when people go to my website and when they add things to the cart, but then they leave, then send them an ad on Facebook. So they'll be scrolling through Facebook and they'll see an ad for your plant or your sweatshirt or whatever you're selling, and they could be reminded, oh yeah, I was going to buy that, and they'll go back and be more likely to buy it. So that's called retargeting. There's a lot of stuff. There's a whole science behind that as well. For the purposes of this video, we're not going to get into that. But clearly, marketing has a lot of very powerful things here. So definitely go through those and check those out after this video. Then we have analytics here. I'm not going to dive into this too deep, but this is obviously very important where you can learn a lot and figure out what's selling best, what's paying the most money, like what's converting better based on your ads and things like that. You can go and see where traffic's coming from. You can see who's searching, who's coming from social media. You can find a lot of stuff from here, and so analytics is very powerful. Then scheduling is something new. I'm not going to cover that in this video, but essentially that's going to be if somebody's trying to maybe book something with you or otherwise schedule any kind of meeting with you or maybe consulting, stuff like that. It's going to be done with scheduling. You're going to pay extra for that. For a store, you're probably not going to use that at all. As we go down to settings, we see help on the bottom. Settings is really the last thing I want to cover in this video, and you have lots of different options here. Extensions is something cool that you see on Wix and Weebly a lot. Squarespace is starting to get into that a little bit. Squarespace really generally doesn't need many extensions. Most of the stuff already works. But if you want to add other extensions for translating in different languages and stuff like that, you can go and explore the different extensions that Squarespace has. So I don't know exactly the number of them, the quantity, but they have things right here like after shipping so you can track things easily. You can have order desk, just lots of different things. I recommend going and checking these out for sure. A lot of them are definitely more focused on shipping though, so that it makes things easier so you can save time and money with shipping as they're saying right there. So really dig into this on your own. Just know that it exists. If you ever run into something you think, man, I really wish I could do that with my store, check out the extensions. There's a good chance you might be able to actually do what you're trying to do. So permissions right there would be if you have pages that, or if you want people to edit with this. So if you have a team of people, you can say certain people can edit different pages, certain people are admins, people can do different things. So it's a great way to have employees working on this with you, but not give them the master password to, totally derail your business. You want to make sure that you don't give the wrong people too much power there. Connected accounts, social links, that's all going to be just getting, so social links is really important. That makes sure, like I said before, these little links on the top are not linking to Squarespace. Don't forget to do this. If you have social media on here, definitely go in there and make sure that you're linking to your own social media. You can add them, you can remove them very easily. So if you don't have a Twitter, just get rid of that. You don't want it as a dead button, and you definitely don't want it to linking to Squarespace. Nothing against Squarespace, but it's just going to be weird. It's going to be obvious that you're a rookie and you didn't do this right. Business information is going to be some basic stuff about you. If people are trying to find you, contact you, I recommend populating this. It definitely is for the better that you have your hours on there, your address, your phone number, your email, and stuff like that. It's going to be used throughout your website, specifically, I believe, in your footer. So depending on which footer, how you set up your footer, you can have that information all down there. This template doesn't use it in your footer, but a lot of other ones will. Otherwise, you can go down here and actually add a domain. This is actually one big thing that we did not talk about yet in this video. Adding a domain is very important, so it's not something crazy like lanternfishpanda.squarespace.com or something like that. You want to make sure that you go and add a domain. You will be paying for a domain if you don't already have one. They're like $12 a year or something. Not that expensive in the grand scheme of things, and you definitely want to make sure that you're doing this when your website goes live. So you can get a domain, just buy it through Squarespace. I'm not going to walk through that because it's very, very easy to do. You can just search for one, buy it, it puts it on there automatically, and it's very easy to do. And then the next thing to do, once you have a domain, is email in G Suite. So something cool about this plan is you will be able to add this right here. So once you have a domain, you can add an email, or so essentially it'll be like mike@santrelclothing.com, which is a cool way to have things more professional. So it's not a Gmail, it's not like a mike@yahoo.com or something like that. It definitely is more professional if you make it run as a business and you actually, like, when was the last time you tried to deal with somebody who is selling something on the internet and you end up with like mikebobby57@AOL.com? It's just really unprofessional, and you just get a mental image of them selling things from like their mom's basement. Maybe that's just me, but that's what I think. I think it's good to have a professional email. Then billing an account, anytime you have to pay for things, invoices and billing, you can address that right in here. And that's kind of all I want to touch on here. You can make a blog. If we go over to blog, really the last thing is, I mentioned early in the video that sometimes it is helpful to make a blog and get more content so that you rank higher in Google, gain a little bit more reputability there, so that Google recognizes you and says, hey, this is actually a legitimate site. People are clicking on it, you're getting more traffic, and it's going to help you grow your brand and rank higher in Google. You can also create things that are very shareable. So if you make an article that's very interesting, people are sharing it on Facebook, you're just gaining a lot of exposure, and people go there and they're more likely to buy your product as long as you're doing this creatively and in a very intelligent way. So it's something I think is very good. Blogging is something that I recommend. Maybe don't waste too much time on it, but definitely invest some time. So guys, that's what I have to say in this video. I hope this was helpful. That is how I recommend setting up a Squarespace e-commerce site, selling physical products, digital products, whatever you're doing, services. That's how you can do it on Squarespace. It's a very powerful tool. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe. As always, thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.